When I was in college, I used to take care of a family's house whenever they went on their yearly vacations. I had a few strange and creepy moments there before, but nothing serious enough to make me stop, mainly because they paid really well. But this one incident, this is the one that made me quit for good. At that time, I was in my 20s, struggling to manage my expenses. House sitting was just one of the many side jobs I was doing. This particular time, the family was going abroad for 2 weeks, and they wouldn't have any phone service. If anything went wrong, I had to contact the police or their relatives myself. Now, I should mention, this house had already given me a weird feeling in the past. Still, I ignored it. The money was too good. They had 4 cats, all very calm and well behaved. I used to work at an animal shelter, so I understood cats well. The first few days went completely normal. I stayed in the guest bedroom and even went to college from there since it was close. It actually made life easier, no parking issues, no carrying lunch. Everything felt fine until a few days later, one night, my boyfriend came over with dinner to keep me company. He knew the house made me uneasy sometimes. We sat in the guest room, ate, watched TV for a few hours, just relaxing. Then suddenly he said he needed to leave. That wasn't unusual, but something about him felt off. Sometimes he would stay over, but that night he said he had this strong gut feeling, like he shouldn't be there. He even told me I should leave too. He looked genuinely uncomfortable and kept insisting that something didn't feel right. It was around midnight. Honestly, I didn't want to go home. My situation at home wasn't great. I didn't get along with my parents, and this house-sitting job was my only escape once a year. My sibling, who I was very close to, had already moved out because of the same issues. Home just didn't feel like home anymore, so I refused. I told him I'd be fine. I reminded him the house had a security alarm, the area was safe, and I wasn't alone. I had 4 cats with me. After trying a few more times, he finally left, still clearly uneasy. And that's when everything started. I locked all the doors and windows, set the alarm, and got into bed. Just as I got comfortable, the TV suddenly turned on by itself. At first, I thought maybe I accidentally pressed the remote, but the remote was sitting on the nightstand, untouched. I turned the TV off. A second later, it turned back on. This kept happening again and again, off, then on, over and over. What made it worse was the screen. It wasn't showing anything normal, just a blank, black, and white static screen, like there was no signal. Now I was starting to panic. I unplugged the TV completely. I tried to calm myself down, thinking maybe it was some wiring issue since the house had been recently renovated. But deep down, it didn't feel normal. I couldn't sleep in that room anymore, so I went and slept on the couch instead. The next day, my boyfriend came back. I told him everything. He just looked at me and said I should have left when he told me to. I was scared, but still not scared enough to go back home. That night, he stayed again. We had dinner and watched a movie in the living room. Now, to understand what happened next, you need to know the layout of the house. The house had 2 floors. The main floor had the front door opening straight into the living room. Then there was a second level, which was actually a basement. It was like another big living space with an extra room that could be used as a bedroom. But the stairs leading down there, they were loud, extremely creaky. Every single step made noise. It was unsettling, especially at night. I never understood why they didn't fix it during the renovation. As for the cats, they love being around people. Not the type to sit in your lap, but always nearby, always watching, always present. And that's when things started to feel even more wrong. Out of the 4 cats, one was the youngest, around 3 years old, and a little smaller than the others. That night, we were sitting in the living room watching a movie, when suddenly, I felt my whole body freeze. From the basement, we heard a sound. It sounded exactly like a baby crying. Not faint, not unclear, it was loud enough to make my blood run cold. My boyfriend instantly went silent. He slowly turned his head toward me, his face tense, like he was asking without words, "Did you hear that too?" I did. But I tried to stay calm. From my experience working at an animal shelter, I knew that sometimes cats, especially when stressed, can make sounds that resemble a baby crying. I quickly looked around. The cats usually stayed nearby, always in the same space as us. I counted them, 1, 2, 3, only 3. The youngest cat was missing. That had to be it. Trying to stay rational, I went downstairs to the basement. The stairs creaked loudly with every step, making the moment even more uncomfortable. When I reached down there, I found the small cat trapped inside the spare room. Somehow, he had shut the door behind him and got stuck inside alone. He was energetic compared to the others, so it made sense. I picked him up, brought him back upstairs, and we continued the movie. For a while, everything seemed normal again. Midway through the movie, we paused it. It was time to feed the cats. The owners had a strict feeding schedule, so I didn't want to mess that up. The feeding area was in the kitchen. Now, the house layout is important here. The front door opened into the living room. From there, one side led to the kitchen, and the other side led to 3 bedrooms, a guest room, a master bedroom, and the child's room. The kitchen also connected directly to the basement. So basically, to go to the basement, you had to pass through the kitchen. We went into the kitchen to feed the cats, but something felt off again. There were no cats there. That wasn't too strange, though. After eating, they usually liked to be alone. They'd go rest in the bedrooms, especially the master or the kids' room, because it smelled familiar to them. They had done this every year, so I didn't think much of it. We finished feeding them and went back to the movie. Then later, we returned to the kitchen to eat our own dinner, and that's when it happened again. The same sound, that crying. But this time it was louder, much louder, and we were closer to the basement now. I felt my chest tighten. My boyfriend looked genuinely scared at this point. I didn't see any cats around, and panic started building inside me. Still, I tried to stay in control and told him I'd check again. But something was different this time. The crying didn't sound the same. It was sharper, faster, more intense. I turned on the basement lights and slowly started walking down the stairs, calling the cat's name. Step by step, the crying got louder, louder and louder until I reached the bottom, and suddenly, silence. Completely gone. No sound. Nothing. I checked the spare room. Empty. I looked behind furniture, under the couch, every corner I could think of. The cat was nowhere. At that point, I was terrified. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. I'm not someone who runs. I don't jog. I don't even walk fast. But in that moment, I ran up those stairs as fast as I could. When I reached the kitchen, I stopped. My entire body went cold. My boyfriend was standing there, frozen in place, his face pale, eyes wide, and around him all 4 cats, every single one of them. He looked at me and said that the moment I went downstairs, all 4 cats walked out together from the bedroom side of the house. Not one of them had been in the basement, not even the small one. That's when it hit me. Whatever I heard was not a cat. I didn't say a word. I grabbed my things, stuffed everything into my backpack as fast as I could. We left the house immediately. For the remaining 1 week, I only went back once a day just to feed the cats and clean the litter box. I didn't care about their schedule anymore. I just wanted it to be over. On the last day, I locked everything, left the keys in their usual hiding spot, and sent them a message thanking them, but also telling them I wouldn't be coming back again. I was done. I hated that house. And looking back, every year, the experiences had been getting worse. I should have stopped much earlier. I still remember calling my sibling while driving back to my parents' house that night. And what they told me made everything even worse. They had their own experience in that same house, but they never told me because they knew I was saving money to move out, and they didn't want to scare me. First, let me introduce everyone. My name's Kelsey. I was 17 at the time and I'm 5'3". My friend Haley is 5'8", and my other friend Sammy is 5'7". It was March 19th, 2016. I was dog sitting at my mom's friend's house to make a little extra cash before heading off to college next year. The night was cool and springy, and then the house had this amazing sunroom where my friends and I loved to hang out and smoke. I thought it'd be fun to invite Haley and Sammy over to spend the night and make dog sitting a little more exciting. Haley was 23, Sammy 22. They brought some vodka, and we spent a couple of hours drinking, smoking, laughing, and catching up. Everything felt normal until the phone started ringing. At first, it didn't seem that strange, except the phone wasn't supposed to even be connected. We ignored the first few calls, thinking maybe the caller would leave a message or try again in the morning. But the calls kept coming nonstop. Whoever it was wasn't going to stop until we answered. Sammy finally picked up. A man was on the other end, saying he had the owner's wallet at a gas station 25 minutes away. That made no sense. He insisted we come pick it up immediately. Every second he spoke, it felt weirder and more urgent. After what felt like forever, Sammy finally told him we weren't leaving and that we'd handle it in the morning. We hung up, and instantly, a chill ran through all of us. Our stomachs knotted. We grabbed the dog Willis and bolted into the back bedroom, shutting the blinds and locking the door. With the weed and vodka still in our system, our judgment was already hazy. We sat there, trying to calm down. Maybe we were just being paranoid. Maybe the man really just wanted to make sure the wallet got back safely. Hours passed. We kept drinking and smoking, but the unease never fully left. Eventually, we decided to watch a funny movie and make some food to relax before bed. We moved from the sunroom to the living room and popped in a DVD. For context, the sunroom sits between the kitchen and living room, with the backyard and pool on the other side. The door to the pool had no lock. The door from the kitchen and living room to the sunroom didn't have a dog door, so Willis couldn't go outside to use the bathroom. Everything felt ordinary, but deep down, we couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. We all thought we were safe even after that weird phone call. The neighborhood was quiet, and Willis would bark if anyone came to the door. At first, we relaxed, laughing on the couches. Haley and I sat together on one, Sammy on the other. Then the clock hit 3 a.m., and everything changed. Remember how we left the door to the sunroom open so Willis could go outside? That's exactly how he got in. I was completely absorbed in the comedy we were watching, but then it hit me, a gut feeling like someone was watching us. That feeling grew stronger by the second. I turned toward the kitchen and froze. There, hunched over, was a dark shape. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but the figure reached up into the cabinet, and my heart sank. I realized someone was in the house. I nudged Haley and whispered, barely audible, "Haley, I think there's someone in the house." She looked toward the kitchen and let out a scream that made my blood run cold. The figure whipped his head around and locked eyes with me. His piercing blue eyes glowed against the orange lamp under the cabinet. Everything else was hidden by black clothes, hoodie pants, shoes, gloves, and a ski mask covering his nose and mouth. Sammy finally got up to see what Haley and I were staring at. Somehow he yelled out, trembling, He's in the house!" But the intruder didn't panic. He calmly closed the cabinet and slowly walked toward the sunroom doors. We didn't wait. We scrambled to the farthest corner of the room and called 911. The police arrived 3 minutes later, searched the entire house, took our statements, and sat outside for the rest of the night, watching for the intruder. We didn't stick around to find out if he would come back. We left everything, booze, weed, and my car at the house with the cops, grabbed Willis, and headed home. The next day, when we returned, it was chaos. Clothes were tossed everywhere, and crumbs by the doggy door showed how quiet Willis had been. Even now, we still don't know who made those calls or who broke into the house that night.